and welcome back to 3 Minutes with the Author, featuring the latest in book news and author interviews. I'm your host, Shail Rajan, and in less time than it takes to boil an egg, I'll help you find your next favorite book and learn more about the author who wrote it. Joining me today is Rachel Dacus, whose latest release, Return to Lerici, is now available. Rachel, welcome to the show. Let's jump right in.
Thank you, Shail. I'd love to.
Thank you. What's one thing you'd like readers to know about you and your writing style?
Oh, just one thing. Goodness. I guess I'll start with the fact that I write both poetry and women's fiction. In fact, I started out when I was a kid writing poetry. So I love language. I've always wanted to write full time, but my career in fundraising took me into doing a lot of writing. And now I'm retired and I get to focus full time on my projects,
Oh, I love that.
including this new book.
Mhm.
And I'm working on a follow-up to this book and also a new poetry collection. So I have a
Oh,
lot of irons in the fire.
wow.
I
Well,
like to have many projects going at once. It
yes,
keeps my brain happy.
I love that. Well, tell us a bit about your series, The Invisibles, and about the Return to Lerici.
Return to Lerici, which came out in January, is a sequel to my earlier book in this series called The Invisibles.
Mhm,
It's Return, they're both standalone books, so you can read either one in either order.
mhm,
Um, but the previous one begins with the story of two half sisters who do not get along. They're very polar opposites and they have a hard time understanding each other. But when they inherit a cottage in Italy from their father, they have to come together to go to Italy and deal with the property. And while they're there, a lot of things happen that challenge both of them,
mhm,
including some unexpected setbacks. This new book continues on with the story of Elinor and Saffron Green. And they're now, one of them is living in the house in Lerici,
mhm.
Italy, which is just south of Portofino for those who've been in the area. Um, I love that area. It's so beautiful. So they continue to grapple with being a blended family and having a lot of issues involving, their father, who was a difficult person and who left behind a child out of wedlock who was adopted away from the family. And so that's sort of the spring that sets off the story in this book. One of the members of the family wants to find this son, known on the adoption papers only as baby boy.
Oh,
And everyone else in the family thinks this is a very bad idea. It could turn out, he could be a thief or a murderer, or
mhm.
who knows. So that's the premise of this one. I love setting books in Italy because I love Italy so much. I'd love to live there, but it doesn't look like I'm going to do that. So I just keep setting stories there.
Well, that book cover for Return to Lerici is beautiful. I just want to sit there with that nice red hat on. That's just
Oh,
a
don't we
gorgeous
all want that
cover.
hat?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, where can readers find your books online?
I'm easy to find online. Everything is on Amazon.
Okay.
I just keep it really simple and I put almost all my books in Kindle Unlimited so that people can either read, just download it and read, and I get paid by the page,
Uh-huh.
or they can buy the book in either ebook or paperback.
Okay.
Some people like paper, and I've got a bookcases full of it, so I
Yeah,
understand.
same with me.
Yeah.
Well, you have another series as well. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that one too?
Thank you. That's called the Time Gathering series. And I first became interested in time travel because I love history. I love studying and researching history. And I thought, here I am, a contemporary woman, delving back into the past to try and understand how the history of our civilization got us to where we are. And so time travel seemed like a fun way to investigate that in fiction. So I have four books in that series, beginning with The Renaissance Club.
Okay.
Um, All three of the four are, of course, set in Italy, and the Renaissance Club that kicks it all off is set based on a tour I actually took in Italy, an art history tour of a number of beautiful places that have, Renaissance and Baroque art. And we even had an art history preparatory course for this tour. So
Hmm.
it was very intensive. And it just, as I was walking around in Rome and Florence and Siena and Assisi and places like that that are, go back hundreds of years, I kept thinking, what would it be like to have lived in these times, to know the artists, Michelangelo, Bernini,
I have
the people who
goosebumps.
made these. So I had to do the time travel, and
Yeah.
that started me off with the Time Gathering series.
Oh, that sounds wonderful. Well, what is your favorite thing about being an author?
I'd have to say it's daydreaming. I've been doing this since I was a kid. When I was 10, I ran out of books to check out of the library that were appropriate and that I hadn't read already. So my mother said, "Why don't you write your own book?" Kind of a crazy thing to suggest to a kid. And she gave me the loan of her Smith Corona portable typewriter,
I love this.
taught
Okay.
me to do touch typing, and I was off to the races. And I'm still daydreaming.
Oh, I love that. I have goosebumps hearing you talk about both the series and that. That's so nice. Well, that is actually it for us. A huge thank you to my guest, Rachel Dacus, whose book Return to Lerici is now available. Thank you, Rachel. I'm your host, Shail Rajan. Thanks for joining us on 3 Minutes with the Author. Stay tuned for information on where to find books by my guest, learn who'll be joining us next, and watch the latest episodes. Thank you.
Thank you, Shale.